The 2027 Rugby World Cup draw was completed earlier this morning, and in this video I'm going to go through all of that, work out who are some of the biggest winners and losers and what potential matchups we might see further down the line. Now, just to kick things off, this is just the group draw, so we now know which teams are in which groups. The actual matches, where they're going to be played, what times, that's all going to be decided in February. So that's down the road. Don't bother going looking for fixtures just yet. Okay, next thing on the list is there's no pool of death in this Rugby World Cup, and that is purely because of the format. It used to be 4 groups of 5, which meant that you lost some of the bigger teams at the group stage, but that's changed now. It's now 6 groups of 4, and they've added a round of 16 in there as well. So that means that every group winner, every group runner-up, and 4 of the third place finishers also go through to that round of 16. So if you're one of the higher ranked teams, you know, all things being equal, you're almost certain to get through. Okay, and the next thing is there's always been lots of criticism around the fact that this draw happened sort of 18 months, 2 years out from the Rugby World Cup, and the landscape changes, teams change form, some players rise through the Rugby World rankings and some go down, and you end up, none of that really matters as such. Now, with this new format, I think teams can go up and down a chunk here or there. And because of the way it's set up, it shouldn't really make too much difference. You watch me eat my words in 18 months' time when somebody changes their form dramatically and we get somebody dropping out. We shall see. Okay, let's go through now and have a look at the draw itself. And in Pool A, we got New Zealand, Australia, Chile, and Hong Kong, China in their first ever Rugby World Cup. Obviously, hosts Australia playing against New Zealand, and they've knocked New Zealand out of a lot of Rugby World Cups over the years, is the big marker there. But also, what a great draw for Hong Kong, China. They get to play the hosts and they get to play the All Blacks in the Rugby World Cup. I think they would struggle to ask for a better draw than that. So fair play to them. That is a wonderful draw for them. Pool B, South Africa, Italy, Georgia, and Romania. Pool C, Argentina, Fiji, Spain, Canada. Pool D, Ireland and Scotland, again in the group together. Uruguay, Portugal. Group E, France, Japan, USA, Samoa. Group F, England, Wales, Tonga, and Zimbabwe. Okay, let's go through some of these. What are some of the big group games that are going to come out of this group stage? Well, New Zealand versus Australia is certainly the first one. If they don't schedule that to be the tournament opener, I will be very, very surprised. What a way to kick off the Rugby World Cup that will be. Also, another big group game, I think, might be Georgia versus Romania, the Battle of the Black Sea. 2 of sort of Eastern Europe's strong, traditionally strong sides going at it with the potential to get a win and get into the round of 16. So that could be a really big battle in Group B. What else is there? Ireland versus Scotland. Let's go there. Ireland have got an unbelievable record against Scotland. They've beaten them back-to-back for a long, long time now. I think it was 2017 or 2018. It's been a good few years since Scotland have won. And they've been in the same group for the last 2 World Cups. There was an interesting video this afternoon with Xander Fagerson, Sione Turbulotto and Hugh Jones sat watching the draw. And when they got Ireland, they kind of just all shrugged their shoulders and then laughed. It was like, oh, yeah, of course it's Ireland. So that's going to be the big group game in Pool D for sure. And then, of course, Pool F, England and Wales. Forget about Wales' struggles at the moment. They've got 18 months to sort that, right the ship, and get going towards that game. They were underdogs in 2015 when they knocked England out of their own World Cup during the group stage, and I'm sure they would love to put another dagger in England's World Cup chances this time around. That being said, of course, it's only a group game, and all things being equal, both those teams should get through to the round of 16. Excuse me. Now, the real interest, I think, in the groups comes is, you know, the third-ranked team versus a second-ranked team. Are there any people there that might potentially upset the apple cart? And there's always a chance, and there's always an upset at Rugby World Cups. There's not a lot, but there typically is at least one. I'm looking the most likely here. Could Georgia beat Italy? I mean, I'm a huge fan of Italian rugby, but they had a terrible Rugby World Cup last time out. If they do that again, then Georgia, if they keep progressing, they could potentially beat Italy. The other one I'm looking at is Spain against Fiji. Spain qualified for both the 2 previous World Cups, but were disqualified for ineligible players. So they've been building very, very quietly and strongly for a long time. They almost beat England A. In fact, they should have beat England A couple of weeks ago. They really should have. And then they've got to play against Fiji. Now, Fiji obviously could be sublime. Fiji could win that group, but they could also absolutely implode and lose to Spain and end up in 3rd place. So I think that's another potential one that we might see an upset based on the current seedings. Just in terms of the rugby that's likely to be played throughout these group stages, I'm interested in which group is going to be the most attractive in terms of the rugby played. And I think it could be Pool D, Scotland, Uruguay, Portugal, and Ireland, when they're in their flow, they all play really beautiful rugby. So if you're looking for sort of open games with lots of tries, attacking intent, I think Pool D might be the ones for this Rugby World Cup. What else? What else is there? The biggest winners? Who do I think's got the best draw out of this? I think maybe France, France have got Japan, USA, Samoa. I can't see them having any troubles really with any of those teams. And Samoa would be physical, obviously, but Japan and USA, not so much. I think France will be really, really happy with their draw. The other big talking point coming out of this is when we look at the actual draw itself. So who goes where? If we look on the left-hand side of the draw there, we got winner of Pool A against winner of Pool B. Now, again, if everything goes to form, that will be New Zealand versus South Africa, the 1st and the 2nd seeds. There's been some criticism of that. Should the seeds be kept apart on separate sides of the draw? Of course, it was all randomly chosen for each section. All first 6 seeds got selected at random. So it's a bit of unlucky that seeds 1 and 2 got pitted against each other. But like I said, the landscape will almost certainly have changed by 18 months' time. Of course, it's the 2 teams that have won the Rugby World Cup the most often who potentially meet in the quarterfinals. But again, it might not happen. So yeah, there's been some criticism. I don't think it's relevant. I think you just do the best you can, and the chances are one of those teams might not end up at the top of the group anyway. So let's see how that goes. And the other thing about this draw, of course, is the way it's set up. You're always going to get some runners-up versus runners-up in the round of 16, which feels really harsh to lose a couple of runners-up at that stage. But, in theory, you have to. So that's the way it's got to be. So, all the pool winners get to go against all the 3rd place finishers. So there's only 4 of those. So that's 6 against 4 teams, which leaves 2 over. And that's why you get some runners-up versus runners-up in the round of 16. So some group runners-up will not be making the quarterfinals for sure. Okay, that's what I think. But let me know what you think in the comments down below. It's a really interesting draw. And of course, this far out from the Rugby World Cup, there's only so much that you can really tell. You'll find out more, and the stories will grow and develop as we get closer and closer to the actual time of the tournament. As I said, let me know what you think in the comments down below. What do you think about the 1st and the 2nd seed potentially playing in the quarterfinals? Are there any big group games that you think might be really pivotal that I didn't mention? Again, in the comments down below, and give this video a thumbs up while you're down there. If you don't mind, it helps other great rugby fans just like you find it. And the next Rugby World Cup video will be in February, like I said, which is when the matches are announced. And until then, get out and play.